Okay, so get yourself onto your lift, and what's that? There's some kind of weird ring thing. So get yourself onto your lift and then come into a good cross-leg position. Just feel that you're sitting nice and evenly so that you're able to level up the upper body. So if the hips are level, then the upper body, the spine, can be nice and straight. So lift and open the chest. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Just listen to the sound of the breath. Soften your jaw, soften your tongue. Just listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Feel your lungs as they expand. Observe your lungs as they relax. So allow your lungs to expand in 360 degrees. So in the front chest, in the side ribs, and in the back chest, in the shoulder blade region. Listen to the sound of the breath. Drive the spine upwards, remembering that bimetallic strip action. Lift in the front chest, descend in the back chest. And then bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together, lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. And then with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. So continue to observe how the body accommodates the breath. Listening to the sound of the breath, filling the lungs evenly, feeling the chest expand, emptying the lungs evenly, observing the difference in the sound of the out-breath to the in-breath. And then with an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in your heart area, and then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to reopen. Just press down on the backs of your hands onto your knees, and see if you can really elevate the spine upwards, lifting the front chest and descending the back chest. So that feeling of descent in the back chest helps you to lift the front chest, because it comes along with this feeling that every action has a reaction. So you could say that if you allow the back chest to lift, so just lift your back chest, and then so the kind of shoulder blades raise upwards, then the reaction of that action is for the chest, the front chest, to kind of shrink. But if you lift the front chest, driving the front chest upwards, then the back chest more naturally descends. So there's this feeling of action and reaction. Hold onto your knees, lift and open the chest. Just take some deep inhalations, deep exhalations. And then we're going to turn to the right side, but not just turning from the shoulders. I want you to literally pick up the whole of the torso and turn from the abdomen, turn the whole of the torso. So as you turn, the head stays level, but try and turn from the entirety of the torso. Dig the back hand into the floor, lift the chest, turn the spine, but turn the abdomen, turn the ribs, turn the shoulders with equal effort. Use your out breath to intensify your turn a little. Breathing evenly and deeply. And then come back to the center. Hold on to your knees, lift and open the chest. And again, pick up the torso and turn from the abdomen. Draw the belly button around so that it points at the left knee and beyond. Breathe evenly and deeply. If you could fire bullets out of your belly button, would they be firing in the direction of your knee, or would they be pointing forwards? So try and turn the abdomen so that you would be firing bullets at the knee. They're gentle bullets, ones that don't hurt. And then coming back to the center. Just get your belt and stretch your legs out. And then put the belt around your feet so you can have your feet hip width apart to start off with, just to give you a bit of space. And I want you to have it around the ball joint of the feet, but a little higher than usual, so that the little toes are pressing into the belt. And then pull on the belt, and then try and push your little toes really firmly into the belt. So you're almost trying to push your feet apart. So push, but keep your heels where they are. Just tighten the kneecaps. Keep the heels where they are, but press the little toe side of the foot as hard into the belt as you can, so that you start to feel that uttanasana action, where you suck the outer thigh in towards the inner thigh. So push your feet into the belt, and then really try and push the little toes into the belt. Lift the chest, push the little toes really firmly into the belt, and lift and open the chest. So the more you push those little toes into the belt, the more the outer thighs suck inwards, and then the more you can tube of toothpaste up into the chest. Breathe in evenly. So feel that you can extend into the spine by activating those little toes, pressing them into the belt, so that the outer thighs suck in towards the inner thigh, and then the chest rises up like you're squeezing the bottom of a tube of toothpaste and raising upwards. And then release. Just come onto all fours, spread, have your hands as wide apart as your mat to start off with, have your feet as wide apart as your mat, and then come up into dog down. So in dog down, just bend your knees initially, tilt the seat bones up towards the ceiling, lift the front chest, descend the back chest, and then straighten your legs. Stamp the little toe into the floor. See if you can suck the outer thighs inwards so that you can lengthen into the front chest a little more. Press the little toes firmly into the floor so that the outer thighs suck inwards, lengthening the front chest. Breathe in evenly and deeply. Just come down onto your knees, just sit back on your heels, and then come into just a brief Adho Mukha virasana, lifting the chest, keeping the chest rising upwards. So even though you come down, keep the chest lifted. Press the tops of the feet firmly into the floor. Press the shins down into the floor. Lengthen from the knees into the hips. From the hips into the armpits, into the hands. From the hands into the armpits, into the hips. Just listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits, and then sit back up on your heels, and then get your belt and make the belt into a loop that's about the same width as your hips. And then slip the belt over your heels, over your ankles. So make sure that you can push the feet really firmly into the belt. Actually, it's better if you can push it, if you put it around the heels rather than around the shins. And then you're going to come up into dog down again, but this time you're going to hit the feet. This is where you discover that you're too narrow, so you just loosen it off a little, give yourself a bit more space. So you work with the little toes firmly in the floor, into the floor, so don't be too narrow with it. It's easy to be too narrow. So push the outer edge of the feet into the belt, suck the outer thighs inwards, and then lift and open the chest. Actually, I think you get the action better if you put it around the bottom of the shins rather than the bottom of the feet. Bottom of the feet seems to have the kind of opposite reaction. So put it around the bottom of the ankles and then push the outer ankles into the belt really firmly. And then you can suck the outer thighs in. It's not quite as good as doing it in dandasana, but it kind of works. So push the feet really firmly into the belt, stamp the little toes into the floor, suck the outer thighs in so that you lift the chest. And then just come down back onto your knees. Just slip the belt off your feet. And then just stand up and come into uttanasana. So we're going to go into half uttanasana. So have blocks for your hands. Now, if you're not going all the way down, so Christine, I think for you, it's probably not a good idea to go all the way down. But you can come forwards, bring your hands onto the top of a tabletop or the back of a chair, just to work. So you're not kind of overworking your back when you come forwards. So just try working that way. Have your feet as wide apart as your mat and turn your toes in so that your toes are turning inwards. Lift and open the chest. Press those little toes really firmly into the floor. Push the heels, the ankles into the imaginary belt, and then suck the outer thighs in and lift and open the chest, and then hinge at the hips and come forwards. Find the blocks. So even if you can reach the floor really easily, it's good to just start at the blocks, because it just gives you a bit more space to extend into the spine. Because all of this work in the feet, stamping those little toes into the floor, hitting these outer ankles into an imaginary belt, they're all actions so that you can suck the outer thigh in and that you can extend the spine away. So breathe evenly, listening to the sound of the breath. If you can come down a bit lower, then do. Extending that front chest. The action of lifting the chest helps you to descend the back chest. So lifting the front chest, if you can find the floor, then do. Lifting the front chest, descending the back chest. Breathing evenly and deeply listening to the sound of the breath. And then come up into a standing position, and then get your belt, and again put the belt around your feet. So whether you're doing this all the way down or halfway down, do it with the belt around the feet, but put it around the little toe side of the foot, and then have the feet as wide apart as the mat, and then tighten it. So it's tight around the little toe side of the foot. And then just come back into Tadasana. So whether you're using your lift or your blocks, just come back up into Tadasana. Stamp the heels down and try and push the little toes really firmly into the belt so that you feel that these outer thighs want to kind of suck inwards. And then lift and open the chest, raise your arms up. So make real firmness with the little toes in the belt, push really firmly. And then glide into the pose, come forwards, hinging at the hips. If you're using a lift, just stop at this first stage, push the feet into the belt really firmly. If you're coming down, then bring your hands down onto the blocks. So push the feet into push the little toes into the belt really hard so that you're really activating those outer thighs, sucking those outer thighs in so that you can lengthen the spine like a tube of toothpaste. If you can come down to the floor, then do, or just stay at whichever level is good for you. Activating those little toes, extending the spine away. And then lengthen the front chest. Keep descending the back chest. If you can reach around your heels, then do. Keep pushing the toes, the little toes into the belt, lengthening the front chest, extending the spine down towards the floor. Listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. And then release your hands. Bring your hands into your hips. Bend your knees on the way up if you need to. And then come up into the standing position. So hopefully the belt has left a bit of an imprint on the toes. I don't mean on the skin, but just on the feeling of the toes. So be in Tadasana, inner edge of the feet together. Stamp the neck of the big toe into the floor and then really stretch out into the little toes so that you can suck into the outer thighs and lift and open the chest. Breathe in evenly and deeply. Extend your arms forwards. Draw your consciousness into each individual finger. Interlock your fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head. So extending the arms up. If you've got problems with your back, then just stay facing forwards. But if you don't, I want you to turn, keep the legs where they are and just turn the torso. Try and get the belly button to point towards the right side of the room without disturbing the hips. Quite hard, isn't it? So keeping the hips directly forwards as much as you can, and then turning the belly button. And come back to the center and turn to the left. Drawing the abdomen across from the right to the left. Keeping the arms extended upwards, keeping those little toes hitting into the floor, sucking the outer thighs in to keep the hips level. And then come back to the center. Release your arms. Stop the interlock of the fingers and then draw the arms up. Again, activating those little toes, hitting the outer thighs inwards, keeping the hips level and then turning the torso, but trying to turn the belly button. Keeping the hips level, turning. Come back, keeping the hips level as much as you can and then turning from the torso. So it's almost like you pick up the torso and turn. And then come back to the center and then come back into Tadasana. So breathe in evenly and deeply listening to the sound of the breath. Stamping the little toes into the floor, sucking the outer thighs inwards, and then that tube of toothpaste action up into the chest. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards the chest, and then step or jump your feet apart. And then just bring your hands onto your hips for a second. So just feel at this stage where your hips are, but feel where your feet are. I don't really mean in kind of in terms of direction, but how they connect to the floor. And ultimately, when we step our feet apart, it's probably the inner foot that you can feel really firmly pressing into the floor, and the outer foot maybe not so much. So turn your left toes in, stamp the neck of the big toe into the floor, and then really spread across the toes into the little toe side. Stamp that little toe into the floor, press the little toe side down into the floor so that this outer thigh sucks in, and then keeping this leg firm, turn the other leg from the inside out. So really turning that thigh, press the little toe side into the floor, suck the outer thigh in, and then turn the torso to face the front. And then Come down, finding the shin, keeping those legs really firmly working. Bring the top hand onto the hip and then work to turn the abdomen. Rotate the abdomen so that the belly button is firing bullets up towards the ceiling, not down towards the floor. Drawing the top shoulder back and then reaching up. So suck the outer thighs in on both legs, especially the front leg, so that it draws the front leg buttock bone forwards as well. So that it opens the front of the groin. Turn the chest, turn the abdomen, turn the belly button. Reach up, come back to the center. Just swap your feet around. So turn your right toes in and your left leg and foot all the way out. Just being mindful of the alignment of your feet. This back foot, stamp the neck of the big toe into the floor, splay out the toes, stretch into that little toe side. So this outer thigh sucks in and that back leg feels super firm. Turn this whole thigh from the big toe side to the little toe side. Suck the outer thigh in by pressing the little toe down. Turn the chest to face the front. And then keeping that firmness in the legs, come down into trikonasana. And then turn the whole of the torso, rotating from the left to the right, drawing the belly button up to face the ceiling, shooting bullets up towards the ceiling. Look up. It's really good alignment that, Ian, so keep working those legs. And then come back to the center, bring your feet parallel and then step or jump your feet back together. Just come back into Tadasana, just again go down to the feet, stamp the little toes into the floor so that you suck the outer thighs inwards, and then you can tube of toothpaste up into the chest, lifting the front chest, descending the back chest, extending into the fingertips. Breathing evenly and deeply, listening to the sound of the breath. Raise your arms up towards the ceiling, extend up towards the ceiling. Now, if you've got, so Christine, this could be quite strong. If you're back, we do utkatasana. So you can do this against a wall. So you have your feet just slightly away from the wall, but then you're going to bend your knees down. So when you come down, you've got the support of the wall. So otherwise it can be quite strong for your back. But I want you to really work the little toes. So you suck the outer thighs in, raise your arms, and then clamp your knees together. So the knees are clamping together, the thighs are sucking inwards. And then bend your knees. Keep reaching up towards the ceiling like you're holding onto ropes, and the ropes are lifting the spine. And then bend the knees and find utkatasana, find a low chair. Keep the outer thighs sucking in, the knees sucking in, and find that low chair, reaching from the hips up into the armpits, into the fingertips. Breathe evenly, and then straighten the legs, and then come back into Tadasana. Just breathe nice and gently. Just let the body recover. So it's this action of not just clamping the knees together, but clamping the thighs together that gives you real firmness in the legs. And it gives you real kind of differentiation between the legs and the torso. So, which we really need in utkatasana, because if you just allow the whole feeling of the pose to come down, if you could just let the chest kind of come down, then it becomes incredibly heavy really, really quickly. So for the upper body, it's that feeling of lift, it's an upward action. for the upper body, and it's a downward action for the legs, although outward as well. It's always the juxtaposition, isn't it? So just one more time. Big toes together, spread the toes, stamp the little toes really firmly into the floor, suck the outer thighs in, tube of toothpaste up into the chest, and then extend your arms upwards. Breathe in evenly, clamp the knees together, suck the outer thighs in, and then bend the knees, keep reaching up towards the ceiling like you're holding onto ropes. Find a low chair. Keep reaching up, suck the outer thighs in, tube of toothpaste in up into the chest. And then straighten your arms. Just release your arms. Come back into Tadasana. Just get your breath back. So that pose really does warm you up, doesn't it? Then bring your feet hip width apart. So we're going to come into uttanasana. Christine, you might want to prefer to do supta baddhakonasana. So come onto your back, feet together, knees apart. Otherwise, raise your arms up, activating the legs. Hook your thumb into the crease of the elbows, and then hang down. Okay, and then release your hands down to the floor and then come up into a standing position, and then just rest back on your heels. So again, this next pose is going to be a little strong for backs. So you can do the first stage, but maybe not go any further into the first stage. I'll show you, or you can do supta baddhakonasana if you're kind of really protecting your back. So we're going to do parvritta, parsvakonasana, but just the kind of simple version to start off with. So you're just going to sit on your heels and lift and open the chest. Try and suck those outer thighs in so you get the sense of extension in the spine. Just breathing evenly and deeply. And then just stay there and I'll show you what we're going to do. You're going to come up onto your knees and then you bring your right leg, let's do this the other way around, your right leg forwards. And then you lift and you open your chest. And then you're going to rotate the whole of the torso. So you can bring your left hand onto your right knee and the right hand into the small of the back. And then lift the spine, suck the outer thighs in and lift the spine, and then really turn the chest. So you might just want to do this stage if you've got a problem with your back. The next stage is where you bring your elbow down onto the outside of the knee, and then again you lengthen the spine and turn. And then you might need a block for your hand. So you bring your hand into the small of the back, and you're going to turn the toes under that right leg of the left leg, and then straighten the leg and continue to turn. So that's what we can do. So you might want to just do kind of the first stage, maybe the second stage. I'll leave it up to you, or you can just do supta baddhakonasana if that just looks too much strenuous work for your back. So just sit back on your heels, lift and open the chest. Breathe nice and evenly, listening to the sound of the breath. Keep the shins firmly down, come up onto your knees, and then bring your right leg forwards. So keep the shin of that back leg really firmly down if you can, and then suck the outer thighs in so you can tube of toothpaste into the chest, and then rotate the whole of the abdomen, like you're lifting the torso out of the hips, and then bring the left hand onto the right knee, the right hand into the small of the back. So just working to turn. So you might just want to do this stage. If you want to go further, then keep sucking those outer thighs in, lengthening the spine as you come down, and then see if you can bring your elbow onto the outside of the knee, and then hit the outer thighs in, suck the tube of toothpaste up, and then turn the chest. Reach down with your hand if you can reach the block, turn your toes under, and then straighten the standing leg, lifting the chest. Sucking the outer thighs in so that you can lengthen into the spine. Rotating the top shoulder towards the back of the room. And then uncoil, and then just sit back on your heels. So quite intense, isn't it? Just use a moment to bring your breath back, put your block onto the other side. Just breathe evenly, deeply listening to the sound of the breath. And when you've recovered, come up onto your knees, trying to keep the shins down, and then bring your left foot forward. Pressing the shin into the floor, sucking the outer thighs in, and then almost lifting the torso away from the spine, and then turn. Bring your right hand onto the left knee, left hand into the small of the back. Sucking the outer thighs in, lifting the spine, and turning. If you go into the next stage, keep lengthening the spine, bring the elbow onto the outside of the knee, and then suck the outer thighs in and turn. If you can reach down, find the block, bring the left hand into the small of the back, turn the toes under, and then straighten that back leg. Lengthening hitting the outer thighs in, sucking the spine up. Turning the top shoulder towards the back of the room. And then uncoil. Just come down onto your heels. Just breathe nice and easily. So it's quite a strenuous pose, isn't it? You can probably hear it in my voice when we were working. And then come onto all fours. Have your hands shoulder width apart. Turn your toes under. And then come back up into dog down. Activate those outer thighs so you can suck the torso up away from the hips. Descend in the back chest. And then come down, sit back on your heels, and then come forwards into Adho Mukha Virasana. If you're protecting your back for Adho Mukha Virasana, have a couple of blocks, maybe 3 blocks, and rather than coming all the way down, just stretch forwards with your hands on your blocks. So you're not coming down too far, and then you've even got a block for your head. So you can try that just to give you a little more space, or just do supta baddhakonasana if you don't want to come forwards at all. Breathing evenly and deeply. And then come back, just sitting back on your heels, and then come down onto your back, supta, baddhakonasana. Just allowing your back to just mould into the straight line of the floor. Pressing the feet firmly together, pressing the little toe side of the foot really firmly together, sucking the outer thighs in. But at the same time, lengthening the inner groin to the inner knee. Rotating the inner knee around to the outer knee, sucking the outer knee into the outer thigh, upper into the hip and into the ankle. Stretch your arms up towards the ceiling, interlock your fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then lengthen your arms along the floor. Use blocks for underneath your hands if you've got stiffness in your shoulders, or blocks underneath your hips if you've got stiff hips. Keep the feet stamping consciously together. Just breathing evenly and deeply, listening to the sound of the breath. Just bring your arms up, swap the interlock of your fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then lengthen your arms along the floor. Maintaining the connection of the feet so that there's connection in the legs, connection in the outer thighs, so that you can suck the spine up out of the hips. So parvritta parsvakonasana is a pretty intense pose, isn't it? But one of the things that you get from that intensity is energy. Just feel your energetic flow right now, just breathing evenly, listening to the sound of the breath. And then release your arms. Just release your hands onto your lower ribs. And just release into the floor. And then when you're ready, draw your knees towards each other. Have your knees together, the feet apart. Just rest into the floor. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. And then rock yourself up into a seated position. And then come into cross-legged position. So cross legs or half padmasana, whichever is most comfortable for you. And then hold onto your knees. Lift your chest upwards, front chest upwards, the back chest downwards. So the action of lifting the chest brings the reaction of descending the chest, the back chest. Lengthen the chin, draw the chin forwards and down so it connects with the chest. So it connects with the notch in the collarbone. Breathe evenly. You can close your eyes if you want to. If you want to, you can incorporate mula bandha by lifting the anal sphincter up towards the navel and diaphragm regions. Breathe softly and evenly. Fill in the lungs evenly on both sides. Allowing the lungs to overflow into the legs, into the chest, into the arms. So sometimes we talk about the in-breath being like filling a jug. So filling the jug from the bottom to the top. But in this case, allowing it to overflow into the body. So that the arms fill up with the energy of the breath. The torso fills up with the energy of the breath. The legs fill up with the energy of the breath. And then release Mula Bandha, release Jalandhara Bandha, and then raise your head. Just feel the energy of the breath still in the arms and in the legs and in the torso. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the right side. Draw in the abdomen across. Feeling that the outer thighs suck in so that you can separate the torso from the legs. Turn in with the out breath. And then come back to the center. Hold onto your knees. Take a good deep inhalation. Suck in the outer thighs in. Lift in the chest. Turn in the abdomen. And then come back to the center. Just stretch out your legs. And then we're going to just do setubandha. If you're not doing setubandha today, you can go back into supta baddhakonasana, or you can do viparita karani. So supta baddhakonasana or viparita karani, just stretching the legs up. You can always put a lift underneath your back if you want to, or setubandha. So if you're doing setubandha, bring your feet as close to the seat bones as you can. And then lift the seat bones. Stretch your arms out shoulder width And then turn the palms to face the floor. So you come right up onto the tops of your shoulders, even if you come onto your tiptoes. Then get your block, place the block in the sacrum spine, just at the bottom of the spine, just by the tailbone, and then grip the sides of the mat, holding onto the tops of the shoulders. And then if you want to, you can straighten one leg, bring it back, straighten the other. If that feels okay in your back today, then just lengthen your legs away. Breathing evenly and deeply. Sucking the outer thighs in so that you can lengthen the spine. Really lift the chest. So if you might notice that in setubandha there's a natural jalandhara bandha action. So like in shoulder stand, there's a natural jalandhara bandha action. Just separates the warm heat of the solar plexus in the diaphragm region with the cool energy of the lunar plexus in the brain. Lengthening the legs away, tadasanarizing the legs. Okay, and then just walk your feet back to the block and then lift the seat bones. You might have to come up onto your tiptoes to do it. So lift the seat bones up, just move the block out of the way, adjust your back on the way down, and then bring you back down onto the floor, pull your knees in towards your chest, and then have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just easing out any tension in your back. And then rock yourself up into a seated position. Just come into shavasana. Have a blanket for your head. Just move all of your equipment out of the way so that you can just stretch out without feeling constricted. And then just release yourself down into the floor. Close your eyes and allow your body to just release. Unhook the muscles of the legs and of the arms. Just allow the body to become heavy on the floor. The more you can let go of the physical body, which does require some effort, the more you will feel that the energetic body rises up to the top of the skin. Fill the body with that feeling of energetic lightness down to the tips of the toes, tips of the fingers, the top of the head. Just basking in that feeling of pleasant, positive energy. And then when you're ready, just gently wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, bring your body back into this pose of Shavasana. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. Just a gentle massage on the spine. And then just gently roll over onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg. Come back up into a seated position. And just come into cross legs with the hands in the masti. Just a final spinal lift. Consciously draw your breath into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions, the forward bends, the twists, the inversions bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. And then raise your head and allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you have just lifted your energy. There was a few kind of quite strenuous poses there. So hopefully that has kind of really lifted your energy levels. So have a great day and thank you for joining me. Thank you very much.